Imagine throwing a superpowered punch at a solid stone wall. Your muscles generate infinite force. The wall cracks, but an instant later, you hear a sickening crunch as your own arm bones violently shatter into splinters. Turns out, having infinite strength paired with a completely normal human skeleton isn't a gift. It is officially the worst superpower imaginable, turning your body into a terrifying, self-destructing machine. Here's the exact scientific reason why your very first superhero move would completely destroy you. To understand why super strength is a curse, we first have to look at how your arms and legs are put together. Most of your joints, like your elbows and knees, are set up as third-class levers. Think of it like using a fishing rod or a broom. Your muscles attach incredibly close to the joint pivot. This design is fantastic for speed and moving your limbs around quickly, but it is absolutely terrible for force amplification. Because of this setup, your muscles always have to pull with a force that is way higher than the actual weight you are trying to hold. Right now, just holding your empty arm out at a 90-degree angle requires your biceps to pull with about 50 newtons of force. Pick up a tiny 1 kilogram weight, and that internal force instantly jumps to over 100 newtons. If your muscles have infinite power, this mechanical layout multiplies that force against you. Your muscles will squeeze your joints with a massive crushing force before you can even budge the object in front of you. Let's say you ignore that warning and try to lift a 1,000 kilogram car with your hands. Because of that leverage problem, the internal crushing force inside your elbow joint explodes to over 30,000 newtons. Your joints are protected by a thin 2mm layer of smooth padding called cartilage. It is great for normal daily activities, but 30,000 newtons creates an instant pressure of 30 megapascals. That is 6 times the absolute maximum limit that human cartilage can take. The protective padding inside your elbow would instantly squash, melt, and turn into liquid. Once that padding is gone, the soft, spongy bone underneath crashes into itself. Your elbows, knees, and hips would physically flatten out and disintegrate internally, fusing your limbs into useless stumps. Even the long bones in your arms and legs wouldn't stand a chance. Your bones are a smart mix of flexible collagen fibers and hard mineral crystals. They are incredibly strong when handling straight vertical weight, like when you are standing up normally, but they are surprisingly weak against twisting or bending forces. When your infinitely strong muscles pull hard, they bend your arm bones sideways. Because bone can only stretch by a tiny fraction of a percent before it breaks, this bending force triggers immediate, catastrophic spiral fractures. Your arm bones would literally burst into splinters before the heavy object even leaves the floor. But it gets worse. Your muscles are anchored to your bones by tough cords called tendons. Under an infinite load, these cords usually don't snap in the middle. Instead, the connection point where the tendon glues onto the bone acts as a major bottleneck. The tendon pulls so incredibly hard that it completely rips a physical chunk of the bone right out of your skeleton. Doctors call this an avulsion fracture. If you tried a maximum biceps curl, the muscle would simply tear its own bony anchor clean off your forearm. We actually see terrifying real-world versions of this happening in medical science. During severe medical conditions like tetanus, or when someone gets hit by a high-voltage electrical shock from a weapon like a taser, the brain's natural safety switches are completely bypassed. The resulting muscle spasms are so violent that perfectly healthy people routinely break their own spines and snap their hip bones purely from the force of their own muscles contracting. Look at strongman Eddie Hall when he broke the world record by deadlifting 500 kilograms. He used extreme mental focus to bypass his body's natural safety brakes. The sheer muscle tension caused his blood pressure to spike so high that blood literally burst out of his nose, ears, and eyes, and he suffered a minor brain bleed. And that was just pushing normal human muscles to their absolute physiological limit. Finally, let's pretend your skeleton and your joints are completely unbreakable. Physics still wins because of a basic rule. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. To lift a 60-ton military tank, your feet have to push down against the ground with that exact same 60 tons of force. Focusing all of that crushing weight onto the small surface area of 2 human feet creates a massive pressure of nearly 3,000 pounds per square inch. Standard concrete sidewalks and asphalt streets simply cannot hold that much localized weight. Your feet would act like heavy industrial hole punches. They would instantly crack the pavement, and you would plunge straight through the concrete, sinking deep into the dirt like a stone dropping into water. You wouldn't lift the tank, you would just bury yourself. In the end, having super strength without an upgraded body is completely impossible. Without a massive increase in bone density, thicker cartilage, and giant feet to spread out the weight, your own muscles would just tear your skeleton apart in a fraction of a second. But destroying your bones isn't the only way your body can completely lose touch with reality. What if your physical body stayed perfectly normal, but the universe around you started secretly speeding up? To see the terrifying reality of what happens when your life shifts into fast forward, click on the video on your screen right now to find out what if time moved 1% faster for you every day. I'll see you there.